What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Golden Dice Podcast. Basically just trying to get us to the end of the week where we can get back to gameplay because we're pretty much just waiting for our set 2 to come in. So today and hopefully tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about two decks that I'm very interested in playing and that I'm excited and that I do think has legs going into set 2. Now this one today we're going to focus on might be a little harder to build because it's more of that soft control, but we're going to talk about one of our new blue villain leaders, and that's Qi'ra. And if you don't know what she does, she's action, pay 1, exhaust her, deal 2 damage to a friendly unit, then give a shield token to it. She comes out at 5, she's a 0/8, but she has grit, and when deployed, heal all damage from each unit, then deal damage to each unit equal to half its remaining HP, rounded down. So obvious synergy is dealing damage stuff, give them shields, and then when you flip, it reheals and takes damage onto the shield. So your people are full health and your opponents are not. But it also just makes for some interesting plays because, you know, blue villain has the scout bike, has the new 1-drop that has grit, has some good units that we can play with. And I almost want to start to like walk through what this might look like because I did do the Mando update video and I feel like as I went through it, I missed some stuff. So I almost want to like build us in front of it and you know, see what that looks like. And so we're going to do her, and we're going to go into green because that's already established. We saw Krennic, we saw Iden both have success in there, and there's really no reason that she can't. And Palp too, but his was reversed in the colors. So, like I said, there's just some really good stuff already in here from set 1. So before we go and add a bunch of set 2, especially since this is a unique situation, right? If you're doing a Cad Bane deck, the new Han Solo deck, you know, some of the Array deck, you know, you might have some new cards that you want to add right away, where this is going in and taking an existing archetype. So honestly, if you know, have a Krennic or Iden deck and you just swap leaders and then maybe make a few changes and go from there, that could be a good start for that. So we're going to go ahead and just like, I'm playing green villain. What do I want? I want 3 of Darth Vader. You know, maybe 2 super laser blast, but we're going to have to weigh that with Snoke. You know, like an Avenger. And then Relentless and Devastator I'm going to add in, but they're going to go ahead and go to sideboard. And I'm going to do that before before I forget. Because obviously they'll be really good in, you know, mirror match things like that. So, like I said, her ability works. She has grit, works great with grit. So I definitely want to add the Scout Bike Pursuer. 2-drop, 1/4, grit, ping it, give it a shield. I think I can zoom in a little bit without like taking away too much from there. So yeah, we'll add the Scout Bike just to help you guys see a little bit better. And definitely like the 2s don't feel great, and even like the 3/3s don't feel amazing. You know, I'm not totally sold on. I mean, I probably wouldn't do Cell Block. I would probably do the Phase 3 Dark Trooper if I were to add them, simply because they have at least a little bit more of an upside. And if you end up playing Yularen, you know, that works with them. So Death Troopers have been consistently good in this deck and one of the best pulls off of Vader. So for that alone, I think is really good. Power of the Dark Side, Resupply, Super Laser Technician. I've started to go down to 5 ramp. We'll start at 6 and we'll kind of see where it goes. Interested in making opening, but we're going to bump that down. I don't think it's the best removal in the world, but it does synergize with a new legendary that we have. You know, going through what are some of the other stuff. You know, takedown's been consistently good. Vigilance been consistently good. Overwhelming Barrage. Steadfast was in these decks, but even then, I don't think it's amazing. Don't think we need it. Vanquish, again, could be a call, but I think with either Fell the Dragon or Rivals Fall, Vanquish kind of gets pushed to the edge. And from there, I think that's the set 1 stuff that I'm mostly interested in. Oh, I want to add Consortium Star Viper as well. So, like, this is kind of the core of set 1 and Inferno 4, of course. How could I forget that? Don't necessarily love it, but it's 2-drop. So this is kind of the core of set 1 from what I remember and what I have played with the Scout Bike, Death Trooper, Super Laser Tech, and then Vader for ground units, and then Inferno for Consortium, and Avenger for that. And then, like I said, this events will be the hardest part for us to fill out, truthfully, simply because we don't know what the meta is. There's no events. These are all theories. So, you know, if you have something that you want to put in that I didn't, feel free to go for it. So I'm going to go ahead and take away Spark Rebellion. We're going to add Shadows into the mix, and we're going to add some of the new stuff that I'm interested in. Again, Enforcer works very much like Scout Bike Pursuer, but has the upside that you can play him turn 1 and then give him a shield with Qi'ra's ability. All right, you'll have that extra resource turn 1 to use with the Enforcer to make those trades, right? He's now a 3-2 with a shield, kills a Battlefield Marine, trades with Sabine. Sabine can take that ping away, but just a lot of ground units it can deal with, which is very nice, which I will wrap back around that I'm actually interested in upgrades simply because if I can continually shield and attack with these guys, I think the value is there. The fact I'm dealing 2 means they can kill 3 stuff and not die, and if I can give them, you know, whatever the 1-drop plus 3 is, or like Devotion or Electrostaff, you know, kind of 1 or 2 drops is really where I'm looking. Timely Intervention's interesting. If we get away from ECL, I'd be interested in it, but currently not, because I just don't think we really care to have that much ambush. I think just 1 ECL can usually help us kind of stabilize. Dr. Pershing feels a little bit too slow, kind of interesting with the shields and drawing cards, but I just don't think he is what we want to do. There was one other one that I wanted. I don't think we've gone by. Pike Sentinel. Pike Sentinel is interesting. It's a 2/3. Look at that. I have an unclaimed GIF. That is, you can shield it. It's now a Sentinel that you know, have and they have to deal with, and it's 2/3, so they're going to need, well, I guess it would be a 2/1 with a shield at that point, that they're going to have to figure out a way to get around, or it can eat 2 attacks at least, so you're up in that. So it's definitely something that I'm looking at. I don't think I end up with 3. Well, with Pike, yeah, I don't think I'll do 3, 6, 9. Probably not at 11. One of these will come down. I'll probably sit at 10. I've been comfortable with 10 in these type of control decks. Going up Black Sun Starfighter again, I just don't think it's that great. I mean, pulling this off of Vader if you're getting swarmed in space is nice, but it's only ever going to really 1-for-1 unless you can, like, ECL it into an A-Wing. But, like, just do that with Consortium, a higher upside. I know it doesn't have Sentinel, but the Restore 2 in a deck like this, like, you naturally don't have healing like you do with Iden and Krennic, so, you know, you want to think about where can I get that healing a little bit. That's why we still have Vigilance. That's why Make an Opening might come in and stay in. And then, you know, the Consortium Star Viper is there for that as well. So we'll add the Phase 3s as well. Gotten a good amount of 3s right now. We're at 12 3s in regards to units, which feels like a lot, but I don't think that's too bad. Definitely want to run down and grab Supreme Leader Snoke. New unit, 6/6. Each enemy non-leader unit gets -2/-2. He's just insane. He's really good. Will be amazing with Make an Opening. Minus on a lot of these units, and it's going to take some effort to trade into him. 2 of the other things that are interesting are Maul and First Light. Maul, I think, just doesn't work. You know, you'd rather just play Vader because I think getting another unit is more relevant, whereas the Ambush and the Overwhelm really doesn't matter, and we don't have much, if any, Underworld in here. And First Light is interesting. It's nice that it can be smuggled at 7. If you can get a shield onto somebody that can absorb the 4 damage, that's part of the cost. And then just giving everything grit with the stuff that you're shielding and whatnot can be very, very good. 4/7 space grit is going to do a lot of work. So we'll put a 1 in there, and we'll put 2 Rivals Fall again. We're going to come back and look at just how that kind of shakes out. The rest of this, not super interesting. I mean, the Clan Saxon Gauntlet, you know, does pique my interest at a Sentinel that you can have that essentially is a 5/6 in space at 6, because it can give itself an experience. The rest of this isn't, like, super interesting. Sayonara San, again, I don't like her with that. Darksaber, I don't think you need. Lampike is an interesting one at 4. Smuggles for 5 as well. I love the fact that we can smuggle them in. I love giving shield tokens to units that I don't care about in space and that I then use removal on. So, you know, a lot of times on attack, I'll give a shield token to a space unit. I'll give one to him, and I'll have him kill something. He takes no damage back. Now they have something in space, and I'll play a takedown, make an opening, power the dark side if they have nothing else. You know, you have these ways to deal with their units that you give the shield to. It's not, you know, you're not playing open fire, strike true, or all these like damage-based things or daring raid. You know, you're generally playing all of this stuff: power the dark side, takedown, vigilance, rivals fall, super laser blast, and then even, you know, if you give a shield to something and Supreme Leader Snow can give it -/-. So we are at 52 right now, and a lot of this will definitely have to be trimmed and take a look at what you want from the event. A lot of it's going to depend. I mean, I think you really do just end up at... I think it's a lot to have 2 Snokes and 2 Blasts. You know, I think I'd like ship 1 to the sideboard, I think would be my thinking. And that makes us want to cut 1 more. But I do, again, want to go back and circle back to the upgrades. I definitely want to take a look at those. You know, again, I'm not like sold on the Dark Troopers. I think they're nice to pull with Vader on that, but they're not somebody that I necessarily like want to play on curve. So I think we'll drop, and we'll go to 50 right there, and we'll kind of see where it shakes out. Again, you know, probably don't need 2 Rivals Falls. You know, it's something that you want to use on maybe just a leader. You know, takedowns, and maybe those takedowns actually become Fell the Dragons. You know, it's stuff to think about. But what I do want to look at, again, is upgrades, because it piques my interest. I wish I could sort out. I don't want bounties. I'm not looking for bounties. 1 for +1/+1 is interesting. Oh yeah, I also said I want to drop one of these, so we even got a spot to work with right there. But so what makes a +1 especially interesting, right? Resilient at Foundling are the 2 1 costs that pique my interest, is because turn 1 you can play the Enforcer. You can then buff him, so he's a 3/2 shielded unit. You can attack into something next turn. Round 2 you attack into something. He now loses his shield, and if you were to do her ability again, he would just die because he only has 4 health total. You did 2 the first time. If you did it again, but now if you give him +1, he now is he has 4 damage on him. He's a 5/1 with a shield, and I think that's pretty relevant. Obviously, not every matchup you want to do that into, but it certainly piques my interest of kind of going there. And I think you just want to look through and see, you know, where do you want to go with this? I mean, Brutal Traditions is interesting because that can let you just run 2 of and don't feel like you need the 3. Devotion is going to be good into the aggro, which I think is going to be around set 1, so that's where my mind's going right now. Yeah, they're not. I want to make sure the scout bike wasn't a vehicle. I always forget. The -1 while being attacked doesn't really matter because you're trying to get them to go into the shield anyways, and then when they are eventually going to die, when they have 1 health left, -1 doesn't matter unless it's like an R2-D2 or somebody like that trading into. Mandalorian armor, certainly interesting. +1/+3. You know, that could let you do it, bring them up to 7, let you do it 1 more time. But obviously you're going a lot into that. But I do think that actually kind of piques my interest. I don't think we have any other Mandos. Like, we're not running Fen Rao or anything like that. So in my mind, yeah, I think I go... Gosh, Mandalorian armor, Devotion, or Resilient. Actually, I wouldn't even mind Foundling over Resilient, because you really just want that 1. This being +3, I feel like isn't as big of a deal. Bringing them up to 7 off the rip. I like the attacks. So, because I feel like the game's going to be very aggro, we'll go to 2 here. And like I said, I think I said at the beginning, I've been going down to 5 ramp a little bit. And so this is kind of where I'm interested. Some of the other stuff, the Relentless, Devastator, Super Laser Blast, Rivals Fall, Make an Opening. The Starfighter, you can think about it. Some mirror tech, again, if you're really worried, because this kind of seems like it should go better into aggro, especially if you bring the making openings in over one of these things. Rival's Fall still feels a little greedy. That might just be Fell the Dragon, as we can deal with leaders. I'm gonna bump that to sideboard. I don't think it necessarily needs to be in the sideboard, but we're just gonna put it there because it's still worth a consideration in the deck. Not necessarily making a sideboard for perfect meta because it's so hard to it's so hard to talk about. If only I could spell. Emperor. Add 2 of the Emperor's Legion to the sideboard. And I think these are like where you kind of want to start to think about how does the deck operate? What does my local meta look like? Is it aggro heavy? Is it control heavy? And then you can adjust your 50 from there. But this at least feels like a good, starting point for, a 60 or something like that. If you really just exactly wanted to get this to 10 for that. And so we'll even save it. Look at the deck image so we can even just kind of take a glance at that. Shout out to SwooDB for being awesome, as always. Oh, my face is just in the midst of it. But this is kind of what we're looking at. You've got we've got 10 turn 1 plays, 2 Enforcer, 2 Inferno 4, 2 Scout Pike, or 3 Scout Pike, excuse me, 3 Pike Sentinel, and then we have the Devotion as a 2 of, as all of our 2 cost and below stuff. I think that's a pretty good spot. If you want to end up seeing the Enforcer more than the Pursuer, you could definitely swap those numbers. While the 1 feels good and could be interesting, if you play Vader and you grab, Pike Sentinel and the Enforcer, grabbing 2 units is definitely going to feel good. You just got to worry about that bounty. I don't really want to give them a lot of cards. If I can do some even trades, that'll feel better. Or even, mass up to stuff like Overwhelming Barrage to kill 2 of theirs with one of my cards and stuff like that. And so, yeah, this is kind of just the shell of the deck. We looked at the Green Villain from set 1, and we kind of added some stuff that I thought was interesting. If First Light doesn't work, that can definitely go, but I feel like I just want to try that. Snoke, I think, is going to be amazing in the deck. And the removal, again, you're just going to have to play around with some of that. I think Long Pike is going to be a good add. Keep your eye on Fell the Dragon. Would you rather have Rival's Fall? Would you rather have Vanquish? And the same thing with the Phase 3 Dark Troopers. I don't think they're ever really going to survive when it's dealt to this unit, because I'm not sure with Shielded, and this could be the deal breaker for me. I think with Shielded, no combat damage is actually dealt, just a shield token is removed, so he doesn't actually get an experience token, even though he might eat a shield. So it's not like he'd become, you deal the 2 to him, he's a 3-1 with a shield, he crashes into somebody, he doesn't become a 4-2. From my understandings of this current, but definitely could be wrong on that. We've got 5 ramp. Could definitely even bring in a 3rd resupply into the sideboard if you're worried about some of those games. Star Viper's just 3/3 in space. Good to help take care of those A-Wings, those red 3s, stuff like that. Death Trooper, one of the best pulls off Vader. Lets you snipe 7 health things pretty easily and consistently. Power of the Dark Side, one of the best cards in the game. And so one of the things you want to think about with this deck is against blue, maybe the shields aren't as relevant because, if you make something go low, they make an opening, they power the dark side, take down all those things. You want to have that on your mind, that there are decks that can get around your shields, but red and yellow and even green to an extent don't really have a lot of minus on those things. I'm not even sure if green really does. So against blue is when you're going to have to think about that. But Qi'ra's great, and you really don't have to bring her out at 5 resources when you get there. Honestly, it can be more useful to save her for, you're going against a Luke Skywalker, a Gar Saxon, a Mandalorian, like those leaders that come out at 6, saving her for 6 to deploy her and have that damage be dealt to them is amazing. She's essentially a leader that comes out and just almost guarantees a board wipe. And there's even been scenarios where I've taken her out, deployed her, killed their thing that's a 3, and she's now 7-1. And then you could Overwhelming Barrage for 9 or something like that. There's a lot of lines there that you want to keep in mind. She doesn't necessarily have to be a leader that comes out at 5, and I just think her ability, her deploy, is what sets her above Krennic and Iden, even though you lose out on consistent healing. So just keep those things in mind as you're playing. this deck. But I do wish you the best of luck. This will probably be the deck that I take first week to locals. I think there's going to be a lot of aggro. As always, people are excited about Poe and Wrecker, Sabine with Darksaber for good reason. But this could be a deck that goes well into it, and I encourage you to give it a try, give it a whirl, and would love feedback on the deck, on how this went, and all the things under the sun. Appreciate y'all tuning in, and we'll catch y'all next time.